Welcome back, third graders. Today we're going to be working on comparing fractions, and we're going to be looking specifically at fractions that have the same denominator. So you guys have been working on comparing fractions and finding equivalent fractions. You found fractions that are equal on number lines, and you found fractions that were equal through models. And just by looking at fractions and being able to draw pictures, being able to reduce them to smaller amounts, and remember that little trick where what you do to the top, you do to the bottom to help you find equivalent fractions. You've also compared fractions by using your symbols, greater than, less than, and equal to. And you did those by looking at models and by looking at the number line. But now we're going to see if we can take the next step and take a challenge and see if we can compare fractions with the same denominator without any models or anything to help us. So let's take a look at fractions with the same denominator and let's see if we can compare them. So remember, the denominator is the bottom number of a fraction. So say we have the fraction 1/8 and 2/8. Well, I see that both of these have the same denominator, the number 8. Now, in math and when you're looking at fractions, if you see that the denominator is the same, then what you're really looking at is the numerator. You're looking at the top numbers. So if the bottom's the same, we're going to look at the top. Now here, our numerator is 1, and here, our numerator is 2. So now, what is bigger, 1 or 2? Well, I know that 2 is bigger, so 2/8 must be the greater fraction. So we could read this as 1/8 is less than 2/8. Let's try another one. What if I have 3/4 and 1/4? Well, I see that the denominators are the same. So if the denominators are the same, remember we're going to take a look at our numerators. Okay, so which number is bigger, 3 or 1? Well, we know the alligator wants to eat the bigger number. So the alligator wants to eat the 3. So we read this as 3/4 is greater than 1/4. Now, what happens, and this is something that you'll be seeing on IXL today, what happens if it gives me 3 numbers and it asks me to order them? So order them means putting them in order, and it might ask you to put them in order from least to greatest or greatest to least, so that's a very important part to make sure you read the directions. So let's say I have 1/2, 0 halves, and 2 halves. So I need to order these fractions. And let's say I'm looking for the least to the greatest. So L to G. That means that I want to find the smallest fraction first. Now I see here that all the denominators are the same. So remember, if all the denominators are the same, you're going to be looking at those numerators. So let's find the least one first. Well, 0 is the smallest number. So that must mean that 0 halves, also known as 0, would be our smallest fraction. That would be the least. So I'm going to cross that one off because we've used it. Now, I'm looking at my other two options. I see 1/2 and 2 halves. Well, I know that the next smallest number, or the next one that should come in line, is 1, because I had 0, and now I'm going to have 1 in my numerator. So next, I would have 1/2. Now, finally, I see 2 halves. 2 halves. So if we were just to look, I see all the denominators are the same. So let's just check out our numerators, and let's make sure that they are in order. 0, 1, 2. So those are in order from least to greatest. So remember today, guys, when you're working, if your denominators are the same, all you are looking at is your numerator. Now, you can totally be done with this video today and go on to your work. If you want a challenge, I'm going to show you a trick of how you can solve these problems in an easier way. Now this is super easy for now because all you're doing is looking at the denominator. But when problems get more challenging, I know that you can use this trick to help you. So another way we can do this, and this is something we actually learn in 4th grade, is when you have those fractions, let's do the same thing. I'm going to re-show you this one. 3/4 and 1/4. Now, we already know that 3/4 is bigger. We solved this one. We saw that the denominators are the same, and we saw that we are just looking at our numerators here. Another way you can solve this, though, is by something called cross multiplication. So if you're really great at your facts and you want to give this a try, that would be absolutely awesome. So let's take a look and see what that means. Now you know a cross is shaped like this. We should definitely know what a cross looks like because we obviously are a Catholic school. So when we're doing cross multiplication, we're actually going to see something that looks like a cross, but we're also going to go across. So for example, I'm going to go from this 4 here, and I'm going to go across to the 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that. So I see 4 times 1. So that's a 4 right here. Now I'm going to go across to the other side. And look, there's my cross right there, and it also looks like a multiplication sign. So that can also be a trick to help me. Now I know that 4 times 3 is 12. So which one is bigger, 12 or 4? Well, I know 12 is bigger, so this is going to be the greater fraction. So when you're working today, just remember the most important thing for this lesson is if you have the same denominator, all you have to do is look at the numerator. But if you want to give yourself a challenge and try to cross multiply, that works too to help you solve. Good luck today, guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.